Well, that's good. I just realized my medals and my bib are right behind me.
There's mine. That's
Nice.
Dopey and
Yep.
Disneyland. So both PRs. We'll keep those up
Yeah,
for
that's awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations on those again.
Not beating those. So those will be hanging. And there's my lucky numbers, 21.
Nice. So I without giving too much information away, my house number is 163. The road number, my 10K bib was 164. I was like, oh, I was one off. Damn it.
You're like, what's going on?
One number away. Yeah.
It sounds like me. All right. Let's see. I'm posting on Facebook. I got our picture with our medals here at the
Sweet.
rates. Come on. Okay, there's that. And X.com. Aubrey's watching down in South Carolina. That's Ben's daughter. Oh, I need to post it. I'll be doing that tonight. All right, I think we're good. All right, so this is episode 2852. Sorry, what state are you in?
Connecticut.
Yeah, I was thinking like New Hampshire or something. I don't know why I was thinking that.
It does. New England, they're all small states up here.
No, it's like I've never been up that way. I need to get up there.
It's all icy and cold. It doesn't matter.
I knew it was up that way somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 2852. Holy cow, March. That's craziness.
Yeah.
All right. Wait, are we on Instagram? Yep, we're good. Okay. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Monday to you. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Glad you are here because we are going to have a fun show for you today, and we're trying something just a little bit different to mix it up here as we start March, and we're getting ready for our anniversary here for another year of the Be Our Guest podcast. And want to try something, not really a trip report today, but kind of a get to know you with some of our members of our community. And today we're going to head out to Connecticut and talk with one of my good buddies, Zach, that I actually got to share some time with down at Marathon Weekend. We spent some time on the course for the half marathon, ran around Walt Disney World a little bit together. And so the genesis of today's show, real quick before we get Zach in here, is if you were at Marathon Weekend, they had a pretty cool theme this year. It was called, it was all based around storybooks, and all the, the 5K, the 10K, the half marathon, the full marathon, the themes were based on stories. And so the medals had story themes, the shirts had story themes, and Riley was out in the corrals kind of getting everybody's story. That's what I like. Riley, if you don't know Run Disney, Riley's kind of an announcer, and he's the man of the people. So you have the guys on the stage, Carissa, John Pelkey, some of the other folks. But Riley's out there. He's the remote man. He's out in the corrals. He's talking to the people while we're getting ready for the races. And he was just asking everybody, what's your story? Why are you standing out in the parking lot at 4:00 in the morning, getting ready to run at 5 a.m.? Why did you, travel across the country from across the world to run this race this morning? What's your story? And I thought, man, that's a great idea. I want to get to know our listeners. Like, what's the story? What gets them listening to a podcast? Why are they into Disney? What's the story? So we're going to do some of these shows throughout the year, just kind of maybe step away from the details of a trip report just for a couple shows here and there and just find out more about our listeners. What's the story? So Zach is going to come on and we're going to work our way through this kind of workshop, this first trip through this new exposition here. So Zach, thanks for coming back on the show. Glad to have you. What's going on?
Glad to be here, Mike. Happy Monday. Glad to take a break from the start of another busy work week up here in cold, snowy Connecticut to talk some Disney with you.
We are recording into the future, so hopefully by now it's nice and balmy. I don't know how it is in early March in Connecticut, but it can't be as cold as it's been. And you are a hardy outdoor runner, by the way, so more power to you and Laurie. We were talking about that in the pre-show.
I am. So funny enough, as this show airs, yesterday I will have my first outdoor Northeast half marathon of the season up in New Hampshire. So we're obviously let's get some positive vibes for some warm weather before March 1st, because it could go either way up here. It really can.
Oh my gosh, let's do that. So I want to say though, one of the things that I enjoyed most, we got to spend some time together on the half marathon down in January at Walt Disney World. And it was a very good time. So real quick, what did you think of marathon weekend before we dive into this? Because this is going to be a shorter show, kind of we're compact. We're gonna just really answer some questions, but give us real quick, maybe 3-4 minutes on marathon weekend, the whole overall experience for you.
In 2 words, I'm hooked. That was my first marathon weekend experience. I did the 10K and the half, started the race with next to you, Mike, and then finished obviously the half marathon next to you too, which was great. Awesome to get to do that. After doing a bunch of running experiences around home, um, Disney does everything in the Disney fashion, right? It's the entertainment on course is like nothing else. I took my headphones out of my ears in both races because I couldn't hear the music I was listening to anyways. Because they have plenty to keep you distracted on top of the character experiences and just the nostalgia or the different park experiences for someone like me who's been growing up going to the parks, to get to run through them and to see backstage, on stage, and there's nothing else to describe, or it's indescribable to get to run down Main Street with people cheering you on, to get to run through the castle to see Main Street all lit up well before the day guests arrive. So just to say I'm sold, and I understand why people keep going back despite the cost and the commitment and the time commitment. I fully intend on registering for Dopey here in a few weeks, just to put it that way.
Yeah, I'm back in again. They've got me. They've
And
had me
I
since
hope to see you there.
yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun again. So yeah, it is. It's a vibe, man. Going down Main Street with people cheering you on. You just don't get that anywhere else in life. And going down that finisher shoot and just just a random thing, like seeing Luis, our good friend who's a security guard, cheering you on at Epcot, just backstage. It's just seeing friends here and there scattered around the course, and it's a special thing. You're blessed when you get to do that because you're not going to get to do that forever. Like I'm getting on the other side of that. I know there's only so many of these left in me, and I really do appreciate them. So I'm glad that you got your first. Yeah, you're on the other side. Like you got your first hit of it, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it and you loved it, and you're going to get to do this many times. I love it. So I'm glad to hear that. So now I want to dive into this. I want to try this out. So what's your Disney story? So I'm going to kind of ask you a few kind of questions around that. So what's the story of like your beginning, your genesis of all this? So where did you kind of like grow? How does Disney like start in your life? Like, did you start with movies? Did you start with like a birthday party when you were 2, when your parents had a Mickey Mouse cake, or what's it like? How's your story start? What's chapter 1?
Yeah. So for some backstories, for some context here, I was born in the mid '90s, which was kind of well known as Disney's Renaissance era for animated movies, and Michael Eisner's spur into the theme parks. So it was really kind of hard to avoid Disney and even Pixar at the time before they were owned by Disney in my life. Toy Story by far was my favorite movie when I was a little kid. Um, my parents still talk about the fact that I wore out the VHS tape because I kept wanting to rewatch the same parts of it over and over and over again. I'd run around the house quoting parts of the movie, which they didn't quite understand what was going on at first. They thought there was something wrong with me, and then they realized, oh no, he's just watched the movie so many times he's quoting it.
No, my
Um,
parents still think something's wrong with me, so that's no problem.
I still quote
Yeah,
movie lines left and right in mid conversation. So, and other movies like Cinderella was another favorite of mine. It's something that just sticks in my mind watching it so many times as a young kid. Not so much for the princesses or any of the storyline for whatever reason. I liked the mice. Like Gus was just such an adorable, funny, cute little character. So so grew up watching all the movies, whether I remember seeing them all or not. Definitely those two stick out in my mind. And then as far as the parks go, my parents, I think they knew they wanted to take me at some point, that I would enjoy going to Disney World. They had both been a few times themselves, but not to any extent like I've gone since, but or that we've gone since. They kind of waited until I was old enough to not need a stroller, which was a great call on their part. So
Yeah.
they pulled me out of first grade when I was 6 years old back in 2002, which was a huge part in the renaissance of the Disney parks too, I feel. So I have a lot of nostalgia for the parks and especially Epcot and around the Millennium Celebration at that point in time. But once I distinctly remember walking into Epcot for the first time, and I was hooked. Everything about it, I just as a 6 year old, even I loved and have those memories to and that nostalgia to this day.
Let me stop you there though, because that's interesting to me because as a 6-year-old, a first grader in Epcot, there seems some disassociation there because Epcot's typically not the park for kids. You think like that's Magic Kingdom, that's even Animal Kingdom for kids of that age, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, Epcot, it's my immediately I loved it. So you kind of, that's not what people would expect. So why do you think that was for you?
Well, for me, I'm not a normal child, and I never was a normal child.
I mean the same
um,
way because I'm a nerdy kid. I like science. I like technology. I like the cultures. I like world. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly you hit the nail on the head there. That describes me to a T. I've been a technology nerd. I work in information technology as my professional career. I'm a history nerd, and I love all the edutainment, if you will.
Nice. So, what do you like? Give me. So, you stayed at Caribbean Beach. You said. Do you remember? I love hearing those first trip kind of core memories that maybe even have as a little kid because sometimes it's just like a vibe, a feeling that you remember. Like, do you remember? Like, I remember going to a hat store in fifth grade. And I don't know if it was Sir Mickey's or if it was whatever it was. But I just remember like the theming of the stores at the Magic Kingdom. We only went to the Magic Kingdom for a half day, but it felt so different than Six Flags. Like, what do you remember from that trip? Like, besides going into Epcot, do you remember any kind of crazy memories?
Yeah, so Florida at that point in May in 2002, it was having record-breaking heat. I remember that we stayed in the resort. Caribbean Beach from then to now has changed a bit, but I distinctly remember that we stayed in the Trinidad, what was called Trinidad South at that point in time. I think it's just called Trinidad now.
Mhm.
I haven't stayed there in quite a few years, but I remember that we were the last bus stop getting to and from going anywhere at the time, way before the Skyliner was
Yep.
even a twinkle in someone's eye, and it. I distinctly remember too that it was so hot that trip that we saw some Disney ducks walking outside our room and opened the door, and they just kind of wandered themselves in because they thought it was kind of nice to just cool themselves off too
That's
in an air conditioned room because we were on the first floor.
Oh my gosh. And so that was back probably in the customs house days where you had to like, because those was so confusing back in I don't even know because you were young,
Hmm.
but I don't know if you would even recall this whole process, but at Caribbean Beach back in the day, you had to actually go check in at a building called the customs house, which was just a building. So weird. It was just a building for checking in. Like there wasn't even the food court in that building. There wasn't any services in that building. You just checked in there and then you went to it was, then the rest of the resort unfolded. It was such a weird setup.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I have vague memories of that too, and I've had to go back and look at pictures of the Morro del Fuente's pool at that
yeah.
point in time too, because I swear from then to now, I had fever dreams about the bridge going all the way across the pool and not just being two like towers on either side that don't
Mhm.
connect. I every time I look at those or see pictures of those, I go, those I remember those connecting. That was a bridge. I don't remember going across it, but I remember that being a bridge. And sure enough, they changed it at some point,
Yeah,
and
see, that's
it's
kind of
hard to
stuff I
find
love.
pictures of the things
Yeah.
from the past like that.
And I love stuff like that because there are like, ghost memories of Walt Disney World. Like that was that way back, way back when. But you look at it and you're like, was it always like that? Maybe no. So one of the other things you mentioned in your notes, so you left you did the leave a legacy tile. So is that still there? Do you get a chance to visit that, or is it gone? Or
Yeah, so for whatever reason, again, as a weird nerdy 6 year old, I was infatuated with all the Leave a Legacy towers or statues, as you will, the that used to be in the entrance to Epcot.
oh, the
Just
big like
the big
monolith
ones on
things. Oh
stainless
yeah,
steel tiles.
yeah.
So my parents, even though it was a little bit pricey, even for 2002 at the time, my parents agreed to buy one for me and had my picture taken and everything. I still have somewhere in my files they sent home a like the plastic transparency that they used to etch it into the tile, with like the original marker location of where how you could find it where it was located, which is really cool. I'll have to just post some pictures of that
Pretty cool.
in the Discord afterwards when I can pull it up. But it was devastated to go back in 2019 when they started renovating Epcot into what Future World is now, and that it was gone. I couldn't go back and visit it anymore. But fortunately, they moved all of those tiles off to the just outside the entrance onto like giant colored walls. It looks kind of weird to me, to knowing what it used to look like, but
Yeah.
it's such a cool thing for a Disney nerd like myself to always be able to go back to that, at least until Disney renovates again, and point out there's me on my very first trip here, and that was 24 years ago at this point. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool to have for your first trip. I mean, plus it was that Millennium Celebration vibe. Like that's what they did for that. You know, it's like leave your mark on this Millennium Celebration at Walt Disney World. I wish I'd have had that. That's what I always see them when I go to the corrals for the races, because that's where you walk right past them when you're
Yep,
going.
exactly.
You know, it's like for the ladies, it's like the last chance rest stop. I'm always like, there's going to be a million porta potties, but the best one is right there, I guess.
Yep. And back then they didn't I know they didn't sell that well, because I think they sold them from 2000 to 2007 or something like that. So it was kind of like this weird thing, and I know nobody liked looking at them when they walked into the park because they looked like tombstones or other strange things. But to look back at it now,
I'd buy one. I want my mug up there. I mean, nobody wants to see me, but I'd like to see me. You know, that'd be cool. I'd like to see.
Oh yeah, no, it's to say I'm a part of a small, tiny little,
yeah, exactly.
Less than an inch by inch square of Epcot. I'm there.
I mean, you're in Connecticut, but you're also at Epcot right now. I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah, better. Like yeah, that's awesome. Okay, now let me ask you this. Okay, so you went the first time. So what's your story of that you go back now? Like, what draws you back? What is it? Nostalgia? Is it the food? Is it the attraction shows? Like, what if you had to narrow down to a couple things? What draws you back as a repeat visitor? What's your story there?
So I was fortunate enough to go back every year, every couple years with my parents or some other relatives. Had some great trips and some great memories, especially with my grandparents and some aunt and uncles and some cousins who I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with growing up, and still don't get to see that often, which were some fantastic memories to be able to spend time with all of them. And nowadays, as an adult, I go back because to me it's an escape from the real world. I work in a 24/7 manufacturing environment and do IT support for that situation, which is a pretty high stress job at times. We don't make medical equipment or any pharmaceuticals or anything that could save people's lives where I work. We actually make some sporting goods equipment, but it's still a stressful environment. And to be able to break away from that 100% and just be in the Disney bubble and not have to think about work or think about what's going on in the real world for a couple days, it's a nice escape, if you will.
I'm 100% with you. I mean, I work in the Disney bubble, but I work every single day. I work 7 days a week, and I'm on call from the minute I get up till 10 o'clock at night. Like I step away from the computer to eat dinner and to, walk the dog and to get, run on the treadmill in the morning. But I work every day, and until 10 o'clock at night, I'm checking that email at least every couple hours. I get you, but when I'm on my vacations, I have somebody cover for me the entire time. I never open a laptop for that whole marathon weekend, and it's the greatest feeling ever because I can escape. Like I'm just there with my friends, having a good time, eating great food. That's exactly it. It's the bubble. It's the escaping of reality. I don't ever read the news. I know, unless every once in a while, like a push notification will sneak by, and I'm like, Urgh. I hate that.
Yeah,
that's the worst. Yeah, so
that's exactly it.
So, like, I mean, when you go back, do you go to a variety of resorts? Do you tend to go to the same restaurants? Do you try new? Like, what's your kind of motives when you go back on repeat trips? Like, how do you try to go about it?
On repeat trips, and my parents and I tried for very early on to make it a goal of ours to try to like make every trip different, which is not that hard to do because there's so much that evolves or changes from day to day and year to year and even season to season with different Epcot festivals or other seasonal offerings in the parks, to try to do something different every single time, whether it's a new restaurant or staying somewhere different or trying a new mode of transportation or doing a new attraction or seeing a new show or trying a fireworks dessert party, something along those lines every single time, because no two trips are ever the same. Say you do marathon weekend in January, you go there for a Run Disney race, you go back in May, like I have a trip booked to go back just as a solo trip, just to enjoy myself for my birthday in May, and that will be during Flower and Garden Festival. So Epcot will be completely transformed from the last time I had been there in January when everything was not cold, but not alive and coming to life for the summer.
That's true. Hey, we had good weather for marathon weekend. Could have been way worse. A few weeks later, it was really cold. We got lucky.
Oh yeah, we did.
That weekend we were in Disneyland. It was so cold down in Florida. We got so lucky. Now, let me ask you though, because I want to hit a few things here. You're in IT, so you're obvious. I've always been, I've talked about this on the show when I was a kid. I was such a nerdy kid that I ran a BBS, which you're way younger than me. You probably don't even know what that is, but it was like the internet before the internet. It was a way that Commodore 64 computers could talk to each other through modems. But I had a setup at my house where other people all around St. Louis, because it had to be local because of long distance back then. We had landlines, but all of St. Louis would call my BBS, my bulletin board, and could post messages and download illegal games, like share software, which you're not really supposed to do back in the 80s and 90s. But everybody called the far side BBS, which is basically what it is. It's like the Discord server right now. It's almost the same thing. It's like we've gone back like 40 years. So I've been like a nerd like that my whole life, and I loved it because it was just a fun way to like talk to people and have conversations about it. It's like the Discord, like we talked about computer games, talked about sports, we talked about everything. And so I've kind of been that way the whole time. You're in IT, so I feel like we're kind of on the same wavelength there. But how did you stumble your way? Because I found my way into the Disney community because my wife got me an iPod. I didn't want to listen to music. I love the idea of an iPod. I was like, this is a cool piece of technology in the history of the world, but I've DJ'd my whole life. Like I'm music'd out. And I stumbled across Inside the Magic, which was a podcast back in the day, not a crazy website that posts crazy headlines all the day. Back in the day, it was a really cool podcast by Ricky Briganti. And I was like, this comes out once a week and it's free. And you just got to sync the sucker to back then you had to actually plug in a USB cord to your desktop and download through iTunes and sync it. And it was a big mess, but back then it was easy. You thought. And I found a free, Disney podcast, and I found WDW Today and other ones. And there were books at the library that had, published websites you could go to, like there were just message boards and stuff. So I did all that. I don't know if you came in that way. Like, what was your first encounter with like the Disney online fandom / podcast and all that stuff? How'd you stumble into it?
So being a nerd and just kind of being online all the time, I was a very early adopter of websites like All Ears or Disney Food Blog way back in the day when both of those first started. But really, the weirdest, the strangest crossing of paths I had was in 2011, so not very long after the Be Our Guest podcast started. I happened to have a driving school instructor that somehow we made the Disney connection on a driving lesson. So he and I just from that point forward chatted about going to the Disney parks and Disney World, just to pass the time on our 2-hour lessons from that point on. I think he was wearing just like the most subtle hat that just had 71 on it with some emblem, and
So
only
cool.
a true Disney nerd would pick up on something like that, a la me. And we at some point we had started talking about, listening to try to, feel like you're in the parks when you're at home and listening to background loops or other like park ambiance just to have on in the background when we're working or just, browsing online, things like that. And he suggested, hey, if you like listening to things like that, you should check out Magical Mouse Radio
Oh my
or
God.
the Be Our Guest
What?
podcast.
Oh my God, the driving instructors, the Bob. I miss Magical Mouse Radio so much. Oh, poor life.
Oh, I do too. I had that on all the time from that point forward.
I love that more than the show. More than the podcast. I think at one point because it was so fun. It was like I love the show, but man, I used to love messing with that station. Oh,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I had that on all the time. All the time. And the funny thing is, shout out to Glenn if you are still listening to the Be Our Guest podcast. He and his wife had since moved out of the frozen north of Connecticut at some point after having me as a student, and he and his wife are now, last I knew, both cast members at Walt Disney World, which is an awesome like full circle story there.
Glenn has to be driving some sort of transportation down there, right? I mean,
I hope so. I really hope so.
Safely driving some kind of transportation. That is so cool. I mean, so I love that though. So that's the crazy. I had no idea. That is I can't wait to tell my dad. Because my dad is a radio guy, right? And these stories just kill me. How people find that's why I love. I mean, it's probably not entertaining anybody that's listening to the show other than me, but that's crazy. Okay, so I want to jump into another portion of the show besides just this is the entertaining Mike section. It's over. I appreciate that, and I appreciate Glenn. Thank you, Glenn. So give me some of your favorites. Okay, so like let's learn a little bit more about you. Like favorite restaurants. Give me a couple favorite restaurants, a couple favorite attractions, just off the top of your head.
Sure. So favorite restaurants, like you had kind of touched on before, trying different new ones, different restaurants or new restaurants. I personally tend to fall into a rut of going back to old favorites. I know a lot of us are like this that have been there so many times. It's you fall back to menus that you know are good or experiences that you know have been good without risking your valuable precious vacation time on something that is uncharted territory, if you will. We've been to, I think, Via Napoli and Le Cellier probably the most times. I'd have to pull up my spreadsheet because I have kept decent track of, not like Scott does or anything like that, but like I've kept decent track over the years of all the at least sit down restaurants we've been to. And never had a bad deal at either of those. Though my mom and I ate at Trattoria Al Forno because we stayed at the boardwalk for marathon weekend the night before doing the 10K just to do some carb loading. And I will absolutely be going back there because the gnocchi that she had and the lasagna I had were out of this world.
That lasagna is so good there. And it's so cute. Like it looks so good. You can hardly want to eat it, but it's delicious. You do. And it's such an underrated restaurant. That's why I want to always ask that question, because I think we're going to get a lot of underrated places that we don't maybe bring up all the time. I like that. So what about attractions? What, like if you had like 2 or 3 go-to attractions, where do you like? I'm Living with the Land, but I don't think everybody else picks that, but it is the best. But
then that's hands down one of my favorites. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We also had the fortunate happenstance of doing the behind the scenes tour there. So if anyone's looking to touch their feet into a short and relatively inexpensive, at least for Disney, backstage tour behind the scenes is a great one to try out if you're interested in gardening or plants or anything like that. But some of my other favorites, hands down, are Tower of Terror and currently Rock and Roller Coaster, which I know is, while I'm sad that it's evolving, I'm from Aerosmith. I'm very much looking forward to it changing into the Muppets because I'm also a huge Muppet fan and they are very near and dear to my heart. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Disney does with that space very, very soon here.
And I got to ask you this. So Epcot's your favorite park. You put that in the notes. So we already kind of talked about that, but your favorite nighttime spectacular, because we're on the same wavelength here too. Yeah, I just got to get it from you because
my favorite nighttime spectacular is and always will be Illuminations. There is nothing that will ever come close.
Yes. But you're a Happily Ever After fan as well. I mean, and that's a good show.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what's currently running, it's definitely Happily Ever After. I've only seen Fantasmic once, and it's been about 20 years. Just because you have to wait to get in the theater, and it's a whole mess there. But so little quick story with Happily Ever After. My mom and I did a fireworks dessert party on marathon weekend, just as a kind of a special. Our last night there, just the two of us went down to run for the weekend, kind of thing. After doing the half marathon that morning and getting to run down Main Street and through the castle for it had been a while since I had seen Happily Ever After for go the distance to finish out the show. I'm not saying I was crying,
Dude,
but
it
there
wrecks
was
you.
absolutely a lot of dust in the air around that period of time because I was not expecting that.
All she needs is bum, 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 bum.
Yep.
Because I've seen it too many times. I know it's coming. I'm like, here it comes, here it comes, here it
Yeah.
comes.
But nothing will ever top Illuminations and the feeling of some non-IP based, world coming together and just the globe and World Showcase Lagoon opening up and the torch coming out of it, and oh
Wow.
my god.
Especially like if it was happening, the Olympics just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. Like, oh my gosh, there were so many just times of you hit it just right. It's like, oh my gosh, the world is actually coming together. There's a few times, it felt so good. It was just perfect. The message of Illuminations was perfect for World Showcase. You got 11 countries. I felt like everybody's coming together. Like anything was possible when Illuminations was playing for the 12 minutes or whatever. But that's all I'm gonna say. It was great. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk about sharing it when you take your first time or you took CJ. So tell us about, because I mean that's always a special thing. I've done that a couple times. I don't get to do as much as I'm always going by myself lately. I don't like that. I need to take a first time. Go ahead, tell us about
Yeah. So after growing up going with my parents and some other family members through um most of my childhood and my young adulthood through college even, um uh when I decided with my partner CJ that he had grown up going to Six Flags New England here, nearby to where we are in Connecticut. Um, he had never had the chance or the opportunity as a kid or as a young adult to go to Walt Disney World. So I said, "Why don't we go? You're a huge Star Wars fan. He's watched all the Disney movies and is a Disney fan. So let's see if you like Walt Disney World." And what that did was it allowed me, who had been there a dozen times or so, um, to feel like everything was brand new to me again because I got to see it through someone who had never seen it before. So it was because it was their first time that everything was new, everything was exciting, which kind of reflected back onto me because even as a Disney veteran, one, at least I knew where to go and was like I at least like to think that I was an awesome tour guide for the first time.
it. I'm sure you were.
I was able to share that my love of the parks with a first timer and see it through their eyes. And since then, I'm fortunate because we were able to share that enjoyment together. And it's not like some relationships that I've heard of where I have to drag my significant other to the parks or, oh, do we have to go back to Walt Disney World? No, it's when can we go back to Walt Disney World? I want to go back to Walt Disney World. Let's go to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, that's a blessing when it's kind of, yeah, it's not like, okay, we're making a compromise. Like, okay, I will go if, like then we got it, like an if then statement. Like you're getting nerdy, right? It's like an if then statement. If I go now, then later we can do that. But no, let's go and have a good time
Exactly.
together because we both enjoy
Yep.
it. That's good. That's a good deal. Now, look, you got another question. You actually sent me the notes for this, and you're helping me through this. I'm kind of stumbling through this idea, but I do want to explore this kind of topic with a few people. You brought up the idea of Disney adults, like childless Disney adults. And, there's that debate's been going on online for the last 6 months or so, whatever. Just talk about it. I mean, because I can't talk about it. I have two kids and I've been going with kids. I mean, but I go down by myself for marathon. I just don't, my problem is I just don't care, but I mean, some people, maybe they do. I just do my thing, I just think I'm just very laissez-faire, I just say live and let live, if that's what you enjoy. I mean, like I like Mizzou football. Like we've been terrible forever. I mean, we'll probably never win a national championship, but you know what? I'm always going to root for Mizzou football. That's just who I am. That's what I like. I like going to Disney. If you don't like me for that, too bad. I like going to Walt Disney World. I like going to Disneyland. I like going on the cruises. If it bothers you, that's your problem. It's not my problem. I don't know. So what do you say to that?
Yeah, I agree with that 110%. If it makes you happy, then don't be ashamed of it. You have no reason to be ashamed of it. For someone like me, especially who grew up as a kid and has evolved with the parks for the last 20 something years. Um, it's just something that I enjoy. I like to, or I have kind of drawn the comparison to Disney adults to some diehard sports fans in a lot of ways, right? Um, a lot of people will pour their all of their emotions into and even a lot of money into either merchandise or season tickets thing to go to games, um, for whatever the their local sports team is, right? Um, and a lot of times they spend a lot of money for those sports teams to then let those fans down, right? Um,
Right here. I mean, not every year, but a lot of years, but I still go back.
I mean, I'm not a huge sports fan. I like to call myself a casual Boston Bruins fan and an even more casual Boston Red Sox fan, and those two teams in particular are very well known for letting their fan base down and disappointing them. So if I'm instead of spending money on a professional sports team, I'd rather spend that money on something that's more consistent is or more of a safe bet, right?
Yeah, exactly. Safe bet. It's a good call. Safe bet. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Okay, that's a good way. Okay, look, last question because I don't want these to be quite as long. We're getting there, and hey, I get to talk to my friends. So what can I say?
Yeah.
Last question. So we'll wrap this up for your story. Why do you keep going back? That's kind of a good conclusion because all of us tend to, like we want to have kind of the next trip almost either already officially on the books before we leave, or at least in our mind, like, okay, I know it makes it easier to leave when I know I'm coming back. So why is it? You've kind of mentioned some of the things, but why do you keep going back? I mean, is it summarize it? I mean, you've kind of said a few of the things, but why do you keep going back? What's your story?
Yeah, so the first thing, like I've kind of touched on, is every single trip is different. The parks change enough um, from season to season. Epcot's always got a different festival going on, with the exception of a couple of year plus long celebrations. Looking at you, the year of a million dreams, that was closer to 2 years, I think. Um, everything everything evolves and changes from visit to visit, right? And there's just the breadth and the depth of the parks and Disney Springs and the water parks and everything else that's on that property is so much that you can't possibly do it in one trip. So I know one of the negatives that's similar to being a Disney adult is, the comments that some people who aren't in the environment as much as we are say, "Oh, you're going to Disney again. Weren't you just there? Isn't it going to be the same thing over and over?" And it's no, because you could pick what to focus the trip on, right? So like even for example, when I left marathon weekend, I wasn't feeling like I was disappointed because I was missing a couple things here and there. I was looking forward to all the things that I was going to get to go do on my
Yeah.
next trip in May, or because I'm going to end up going by myself just to have a different perspective by doing what I want for a couple days and going to Flower and Garden Festival and kind of taking it easy without anyone else around. Uh, and then also looking forward to going back around Christmas time with CJ so that we can experience the parks at Christmas time, which neither of us have ever done. Um, or potentially doing wine and dine and a Halloween party in the future, things like that.
I like it. So I'm glad this is, I kind of like, I really do like this idea because we've gotten to know you a little bit further. And there's so many different ways to kind of how we found ourselves into this fandom, how we kind of grew up as kids. Some of us didn't get into Disney till we were adults. Some of us, because I look back and my mom made me a birthday cake. I found a picture when I was 2 years old. It was a sheet cake, homemade sheet cake. It wasn't, I'm a lot older than you. It was like this. I was born in 73. I mean, shoot, you were talking about the stuff you're talking about. I was already teaching. But I mean, like a sheet cake with like, the kind of the scary looking Mickey Mouse like on it that she made, right there in our kitchen. And she got like a little decoration kit she made, but a Mickey Mouse cake when it's 1975, I guess. And, so I've had Mickey Mouse part of my life. And here I am, like 50 years later, doing a Disney podcast and like running Disney races and meeting friends. But it's so cool because of the evolution of how these things change. You think about it, it's like, I think a lot of people on the outside think if you're a Disney fan that you're just going to see, Beauty and the Beast at the movies or, that you're just a Disney movie person, but they don't understand like the community that we have. We are true friends. We're true family. I mean, like we got to hang out running a half marathon, you make a bond when you run a race with somebody, right? I mean, when you get to share the memories at the finish line and we got to hang out, it's like when you hang out at the parks with people, it's special. I
Yep.
don't know. I'm kind of give you the final word, but I think that there's, until you really experience it and get to see like the community feel of everything, it's more than just visiting a theme park. It's really more than that. And that's kind of why I want to share these stories throughout the year.
Yeah, this was great. I'll finish by saying, it's like you mentioned, it's great to get to share this with other people that enjoy the same things, whether it's your first trip falling in love with the parks as an adult, or someone like me who's been going for 20 plus years that got to grow up going to them and then is now getting to experience all of the things that the parks offer for adults, because it's not just for kids. We're not just kids that don't want to grow up, right? There's plenty, including the prime dining or alcoholic or other adults only options in the parks. It's not just for kids, right? And I just got to throw this jab in there too. There's something very personal about getting to watch Mike Rallman take a nap in the Hall of Presidents. Not the Hall of Presidents. I'm sorry, Carousel of Progress. There's nothing quite like getting to share a nap with Mike in Carousel of Progress.
Dude, I'm out like a light. I'm just telling you.
Oh yeah, you were.
Dude, marathon weekend, you got to take a nap. When you're running Dopey, hey, don't laugh. You haven't done Dopey yet.
Nope.
That's one of the rules of Dopey. Anytime you can get a nap in, you take the nap. I'm just be ready.
Yeah, that's 2 a.m. wake ups in a row. Yeah.
You laugh now. I'm just telling you. Yes. What's your story? Take a nap next year if you're going to run.
That's
Dopey.
right.
Yeah, dude, anytime those lights go, I'm a lot older than you. You shouldn't be like that with your elders. I'm going to not let you back on this show. No, Zach, I appreciate that. Was good. That had some smoke on it. I appreciate that. All right. Hey, Zach, thank you so much. And always good seeing you. And tell your mom I said hello because we got to hang out. And I'm glad we're friends, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
All right. All right. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. If you'd like to book your next Disney vacation with us, we'd love to help you out with that. No additional cost to you. Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line as well. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Just click through there anytime you do that online shopping, and it supports our show with every purchase. And you can become a patron of the show. That really does help us out. It's just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. So come over this week. We'd love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. And thanks to all the all-stars who support us over there. You guys are the best. So thank you so much. You can give me a follow on the social media at Be Our Guest Mike. That's on Instagram, x.com, and Threads. Where you need to be, though, is the Discord. We have so much fun there 24/7. It's like I said, it's like a live chat room / message board. It's the friendliest Disney community out there. Come on over. The invitation's waiting for you. Just come on. I'll give you the welcome as soon as you come in. It's beourguestpodcast.com/clubhouse or /Discord, whichever one you want to use. Both work. And probably no live show this Sunday night, but they're coming back soon, probably next week. So be ready for that. Watch for the announcement because I can't wait to take your calls again. All right. So for Zach on Connecticut, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. And oh, what? By the way, happy birthday to my wife this weekend. We'll see you real soon. I almost forgot. I just realized your birthday is this weekend. Well, that'll be the weekend of the show. Oh
yeah, I realized that my mom's is on March 5th, so it's right around then too.
Hers is March 7th.
Oh man.
Where's it? Because I'll say it on another show, but it's close enough. At least it's in there now.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Well, I appreciate you, bud. Thank you. That's fun. Thank you.
That was a lot of fun. I hope that went well for you.
That was awesome.
Hope you get some other people that can come on and do it too.
We will. All right. Well, you stay warm out there until spring gets there. That's crazy.
Yeah, no kidding. So in all seriousness, hope everything goes well for you. I'm really rooting and praying for you that everything goes well with everything you've got going on, and you'll make it through to the other side.
Dude,
it's for the better.
Seriously, I do 20 miles a day and I can't sit still. So that's going to be a pain in the rear, but what are you going to do?
Oh yeah, no, I understand that completely. The most I had my wisdom teeth out, and then I had an endoscopy done. They stick the camera down for checking out some stuff.
Because they're doing that during the procedure. So
yep. Both. After both of those, I'm like, when you're being told to sit and you can't go back to work and you can't do any physical activity for the day, I'm just like, what can I do? What can I do without hurting myself?
I can't run.
I have to do something.
8 weeks. I can't run. 8 weeks.
Oh man.
I know. That's rough.
But again, you take care of it now, then you're not going to run into a crisis situation during Dopey.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. That's what I guess. All right. Well, I appreciate you, brother. That meant the world to me. I appreciate you. So you take
Yep,
care. If you need anything,
absolutely.
give me a
Take
yell.
care.
All right. See you.
See ya.